This will sound very strange, but the 51-day siege at the Branch Davidian compound in Waco, Texas in 1993, and the release of the official trailer for the Netflix documentary WACO, American Apocalypse on February 22nd, 2023, and Trump's visit to East Palestine on February 22nd, 2023, and Trump's first campaign rally in Waco, Texas on March 25th, 2023, are major prophetic signs from God that are predicting that a dirty bomb will explode in Manhattan on April 13th, 2023. And there will be a massive evacuation of Manhattan Island. It is also likely that the official narrative in the mainstream media that will emerge regarding this event will somehow be a lie. The date that this video is posted proves that this prediction was made ahead of time, as does this timestamped email and forensic notes PDF. If you are skeptical, please email me and I will forward these to you. As you can see in this email, this prediction was known since at least February 22nd. There are also many other videos on this channel that make this prediction that were posted many days before this video was posted. God has used many official release of movie trailers as prophetic signs. On February 22nd, 2023, the official trailer for the new Netflix documentary WACO, American Apocalypse, was released. Here is this email that I wrote for some friends. As you can see, it was written on March 23rd, 2023, a number of days, almost a month before the prediction on April 13th, 2023, for the dirty bomb explosion and mass evacuation of Manhattan Island. And so let's just read what I wrote here. I wrote, absolutely stunning. In one of the videos I have made regarding the dirty bomb, which was originally first made in the spring of 2021. In other words, I have known that God has been pointing to and communicating a dirty bomb explosion in Manhattan since the spring of 2021. And this video that I'm talking about specifically hasn't been updated yet. That's what I wrote. I actually did update it, and it's up. So it's also under the title of the Boston bombing video, one of the more seminal videos, although the majority of it was produced before in the spring of 2021. Regardless, the prophetic signs are timeless. So anyway, you need to watch that video, in other words, the Boston bombing video. And I gave it, I made a few trailers for it too under different titles, including the Oklahoma City bombing, or maybe the WACO prophecy video, regardless. So anyway, moving on. So I'm saying here that I made this video back in 2021 in the spring about how WACO, the events at WACO in 1993, is part of a trail of signs that God is using to lead to the predicted dirty bomb in Manhattan. So I have known since the early spring of 2021 that God was communicating WACO. And then this happened. This is why, the exclamation marks here, because the WACO siege was 51 days. It's even referred to in some media as the 51-day WACO siege. In other words, it's known for having been 51 days. But this includes the date that it started. So it started, which is why the media calls it the 51-day siege, which is what I just said. However, from the first day of the siege, April 19th, 1993, it is 50 days non-inclusive. In other words, the way that they call it the 51-day siege is if they include the first day, which is obvious, which is, rational. So that's why it's a 51-day siege. What is prophetic which is prophetic, and the name of the compound was Mount Carmel, which is also prophetic for fire, And Waco is known for having been engulfed in flames at the end of the 51-day siege. That's what it's known for, is the fire. In the Bible, Mount Carmel is known for fire. The prophet Elijah brought fire down from God on Mount Carmel. So, regardless, the official trailer for the new Netflix documentary WACO, American Apocalypse, was released on February 22nd, 2023, 50 days before the predicted date of the dirty bomb in Manhattan. If you include the day of the release, it's 51 days. Just like if you were to parallel it with the 51-day siege, you would include the first day, the day of the release of the trailer, in other words. And this is 51 days to the date it is predicted that the dirty bomb will explode in Manhattan on April 13th, 2023. And that's why I punched in all of these exclamation marks here. This is absolutely astounding and indisputable confirmation that WACO is a major prophetic sign from God, and it is a major part of this prediction. In other words, whatever is going to happen on April 13th with the dirty bomb, the prediction for the dirty bomb and the mass evacuation, somehow WACO is a part of this. Somehow WACO will relate to it or the events following it. Now, I can speculate on what that will likely be, which I think I do in this email. So let's just continue reading, and then if not, I'll add some more thoughts. Not surprisingly, the media is hyping up this 30th anniversary of WACO. Just coincidentally, this is the 30th anniversary of WACO. 30 years is prophetic in the Bible. So one of the speculations is that this event, the dirty bomb, will lead and be a part of the rise of the Antichrist king. And in the Bible, 30 years is symbolic of a king. David and Joseph were made rulers and kings at the age of 30 years old, for example. So not surprisingly, the media is hyping up this 30th anniversary of WACO, and the wicked, evil mainstream media is acting exactly as one would expect, as I predicted many months ago, which is that the dirty bomb will somehow be used to further escalate the political cult of the left's war on true conservatives and true Christians through condemning them as domestic terrorists. We already are, obviously, we can already see very clearly this pattern that's developing, which is the attempt to make true conservatives, Trumpers, in other words, or patriots, basically. Not Trumpers is the derogatory word that the left uses to describe patriots, people that are concerned about the Constitution, for example, and national sovereignty and individual rights and freedoms, normal American things that have in recent decades not been not normal with one half of the country. And thus the Civil War that we are currently in. And anyway, so that other half wants to make patriots domestic terrorists. They're afraid of them because of their hyped up propaganda and fear. That's what the attempt is to do anyway. The media is presently putting out propaganda lies regarding the truth about WACO in order to further their agenda. So WACO, the official narrative, like many things, is a bunch of lies. And for example, it came out in Senate testimony that the teenager was lying when she said that the leader, David Koresh, had forced her to have sex. This is just part of the propaganda, for example. And that's if you watch a real documentary, not a Netflix mainstream hyped up media documentary. If you watch a real documentary, not a wild-eyed conspiracy theory documentary, but a real one, you can easily see and learn about the testimony in the Senate hearings that completely drew condemnation on the ATF and their actions, and also revealed the lies involved with the WACO narrative in the media, for example. Okay, that's what I'm talking about. So I don't quite know how the dirty bomb, this is what I wrote, I don't quite know how the dirty bomb will be blamed on conservative Christians. Somehow I think that's speculation, pure speculation. That could be why God is tying in WACO, okay, to the prediction for the dirty bomb, or the event. That it will be blamed directly on conservative Christians, but I somehow doubt that. I find it hard to believe that that's possible, but I don't know. But this is what is being communicated in the science. But what is being communicated in the science is that this will ultimately lead to the labeling, further demonization of patriots, true Americans, as domestic terrorists. Okay. So in addition to this, Trump is visiting WACO for his official election campaign rally, his first official election campaign rally on March 25th. This was just 2 days after I wrote this, on the 23rd. And what is an astounding beyond words coincidence is that Trump made his first official election campaign rally in Waco, Texas. The campaign denied that it had anything to do with the anniversary of Waco, and I actually believe that, because I know how God works, and God would do this. God did this. God is doing this. It isn't, if you're on the left and you think Trump aligned it, that you're now the conspiracy theorist, the thing that you criticize others of, okay? So, if you're going to, don't be a hypocrite, which is what the left is in every single way. But, if you're going to say that, know that you are the conspiracy theorist now, because the Trump campaign officially said, no, this has nothing to do with the anniversary of Waco. It just happened to be the place where it began, where he wanted to have his first rally, probably for other reasons, including convenience and things like that. Actually, they did say it. They said it was a central location for many other cities to make their way to Waco, and that makes sense. They would want the biggest crowd possible, and that would, especially for the first rally, and that would be why they would have had it in Waco, because it would have drawn the patriotic crowd from that region of the country, and it was in the center of a number of different cities that would have made it out to the rally. So there you go. Okay, so anyway, the rally on March 25th is 19 days before the predicted date of the dirty bomb explosion in Manhattan, where Trump is from. Trump is from Manhattan. The number 19 symbolizes God's perfect judgment, because from the Bible, the number 9 is the most important number in God's true big picture of signs, patterns, and connections, which is only being explained on this channel. As from the Bible, it symbolizes God's judgment. And the number 10 from the Bible is symbolism for God's perfect order. And so 9 plus 10, 19, is symbolism for God's perfect judgment. It is also symbolism for Isaiah 9:10. And through the 9/11 events, God pointed to Isaiah 9:10, which is explained in other videos. Waco is near Crawford, Texas. And from what I just learned, someone said the End of the World TV episode, which was aired in 1958, which involved a plot with a man named Trump trying to sell the old townsfolk of the Old West a wall of security. And from what I heard is that this took place, the fictional story, the fictional plot took place in Crawford, Texas. But anyway, surely Trump realizes the symbolism of beginning his campaign in Waco. I wrote ? And I just answered that question. Surely this rally in Waco will be used against conservative Christians after the dirty bomb. Well, it certainly was used against conservative Christians regardless. The media did, as predicted, make a big deal about how Trump decided to have his rally in Waco and try to, in other words, loosely associate true Americans, true conservatives, true Christians with the Branch Davidians, That's the way the evil left operates. That's how they go. It's how they work. What is confusing is that it seems that Ukraine will be a part of the dirty bomb. How this turns from a false flag designed to condemn Russia to blaming conservative Christians as domestic terrorists is a mystery. It is difficult to discern what is going on. Any thoughts? So anyway, this is pure speculation too. What I do know is that God is communicating that the material in the dirty bomb will have come from Ukraine. It makes sense to me, but it's just speculation that it could be that the people that do the dirty bomb will use it to blame Russia. Okay? Now, what also needs to be, let's see, what else did I wrote? All right, before I get into my other speculation here as to what this really is about. 1 second. Okay, the day that the trailer was released was the day that Trump visited East Palestine, the day of the uranium fire. I just made a video explaining that. That's what's astounding here, is that not only is Trump tied to WACO through his first rally, but Trump was in East Palestine the day of the release of the WACO trailer. Beyond amazing. And I explained why 50 days from that, Trump in East Palestine is prophetic as well in the other video. This was the day of the uranium fire at the National Nuclear Security Complex and the evacuation of the complex, which hints at obviously the dirty bomb made of uranium and the mass evacuation of Manhattan Island exactly 50 days after this uranium fire and Trump's visit to East Palestine on the day of the release of the WACO trailer. Absolutely astounding. All right, now back to some further thoughts about why God is including WACO in all of this. WACO is about guns. And the thing that stands in the way of the globalist takeover and the elimination of America, which was the thing that always stood in the way of the communists. And communists is kind of the right term because, well, you know, it's not exactly the communists of the 1930s we were talking about right now. Things change, right? But this is the vocabulary we have. We're talking about whatever you want to call it, the globalist leftists or the progressive socialists or whatever. The cult of the left, which includes, as Stalin said, the useful idiots that don't know, just following the lead of the other true ideologues that are leading the revolution and the coup on democracy, okay, the war on democracy. Anyway, what has stood in the way for their grand scheme of a global government has always been America, and what really is the thing that prevents this plan is America's guns, millions of gun owners and their guns. It would be, for example, pointless for a foreign country, even the Soviets in the Cold War. They knew that they could never invade America because they could never control it. They could never take it over because of the citizens that owned guns, which is exactly the reason why the founders put the Second Amendment into the Constitution. It was for the protection of the people from foreign invasion, but also, very importantly, from a tyrannical central federal government. And that's why the federal government presently is working very hard, very, very hard, to take away the guns and the Second Amendment. And so somehow, because WACO was about guns, the propaganda is that the Branch Davidians were massing guns illegally, but they weren't. They had a lot of guns, but they were involved in buying and selling guns as part of their income, and which is legal. But anyway, the truth about WACO, if you could sum it up, because there's a lot to it, but if you could sum it up, it's rooted in, it was persecution of a religious group that was unorthodox, outside the mainstream. It was bigotry, and it was hysteria, and but it was rooted in bigotry for these Branch Davidians, and they were picking on them, and this led to their wanting to to seize the compound and take away the guns, but things backfired, and the Branch Davidians weren't having it. The ATF made a mistake. And that comes out in the truth about the story if you look into, for example, a real documentary. This is a complete fiasco of the ATF. And they should never have done what they had done, but it backfired on them, and 2 ATF agents got killed on the first day, and then that just led to the whole siege and everything, which lasted for 51 days and resulted in the burning of the compound and all of this. But it's a federal government disaster, and it involves guns. And it's rooted in bigotry and picking on a religious group, which is symbolism for the coming persecution of true Christians, which is what is described in Bible prophecy. That is where all of this is leading, and that is why God has brought in WACO into this. I do not know how the bomb in Manhattan will lead to the confiscation of guns, but that is definitely what God is communicating. Okay, this is part of the trail of events that will lead to this attempt to take away America's guns. And make true conservatives and true Christians domestic terrorists. That's what's happening. That's what's going on. God is warning of this. That's why WACO is tied to this. That's why the trailer of the WACO Netflix documentary, Lies, was released exactly 50 days before the dirty bomb explosion, the predicted dirty bomb explosion, on the same day that Trump was in East Palestine, which is also a prophetic sign that's pointing to the explosion and evacuation, just like East Palestine, of Manhattan due to the toxic uranium from the dirty bomb. And also Trump had his first rally in Waco 19 days before it is predicted for the dirty bomb in Manhattan, where Trump is from. It's absolutely amazing. And one other amazing thing here, that I've left out is that what is the Waco siege known for? It's known for the burning of the compound on the final day, which was also an evacuation, which is evacuation symbolism. It's an evacuation sign. It's this fire and evacuation, this explosion of this fire. And that's exactly what is predicted to occur. The explosion from a dirty bomb and the evacuation of Manhattan Island on April 13th.